Crystal Palace 2, Liverpool 1. Liverpool get a taste of their own medicine and they get absolutely humbled in the process. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be the not so instant match reaction to Liverpool's 2-1 defeat at the hands of Crystal Palace. Palace's unbeaten run continues. Palace's unbeaten start to the season continues. They are now the only unbeaten team left in the Premier League, whilst Liverpool's perfect start to the season comes to a screeching halt at the hands of an Eddie Nketiah stoppage time winner. We've been so used to seeing Liverpool win games in stoppage time and injury time that this time, like I mentioned at the top of the video, they got a taste of their own medicine. We're going to be going through the performance, the result, and everything else in between. But before we go any further discussing all of that and much more, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. I encourage you all to get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling about the performance, the result, and everything else in between. Would love to know what you guys have to say. So please do use and abuse that comment section, people, and get involved. Talk to me on this. And without further ado, we're going to get on with the video. We're going to get on with the conversation. We're going to be talking Liverpool's 2-1 defeat at the hands of Crystal Palace as of Saturday afternoon. Look, this is obviously the not so instant match reaction video, so I've had time to kind of digest and take in the absolute train wreck of a performance that we saw earlier on. But that's exactly what it was. A train wreck of a performance from Liverpool. Don't get me wrong. Wasn't expecting perfection. I wasn't expecting to blow Crystal Palace away. We know how good Crystal Palace are. I said going into the game about their unbeaten record. I said that Palace are a very good side. They normally turn up against us. And they for whatever reason, have some sort of kryptonite to Liverpool from time to time. You know, years of history will tell you that. But even so, I was still expecting a better performance than what Liverpool actually put in. Now, granted, the second half was slightly better than the first, but let's face it, the bar wasn't exactly set too high. But overall, no, I can't fault Crystal Palace. This was a game in which both teams got exactly what they deserved. Palace deserved the victory. That's what they got. Their performance from the first whistle to the last was exceptional. Liverpool's performance was absolutely dreadful for the first 45 and barely tolerable for the second 45, in all honesty. And even Federico Chiesa scoring in the 87th minute of the game could have potentially set up for something miraculous to once again happen for Liverpool, but this time it was the opposite way around. You're thinking, when he equalises, have Liverpool gotten away with it again? Even myself, I was looking at it like I wasn't really expecting us to go and win the game in stoppage time, but the miraculous moment would have been to get an equaliser in itself, because let's face it, the first half, Palace should have been 3, 4, 5-0 up. It was as simple as that. They were absolutely phenomenal throughout the entirety of the game, and the only criticism you could have of Palace is that they didn't put the game to bed earlier, and that was through a couple of things. The first one being a little bit of luck. There was an element of luck in Liverpool's game in which, you know, Palace on a couple of occasions hit the post, but the other part of that was down to the only bright light in an otherwise horrific and horrible game for Liverpool, and that was Alisson Becker. Alisson Becker was absolutely exceptional throughout the entirety of the game. He didn't deserve to be on the losing side. He once again proved why he is the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion, and like I say, he was pretty much the only bright light in an otherwise very dark and gloomy game for Liverpool. He kept Liverpool in the game throughout, and like I say, Ismaila Sarr, he scores after some dreadful defending. It was almost like our defence went back to factory settings. We've had a couple of games where our defence has actually been pretty decent or alright, But it was like our defence went back to factory settings, couldn't defend on the transition, couldn't defend from set pieces. Our defence completely fell apart, and our attack just wasn't firing on all cylinders. It was just a bad day at the office for the attack. Like, we did have a couple of good opportunities, especially in the second half, but Isak missed a good chance, Wirtz missed a good chance, Gravenberch forced an incredible save from Dean Henderson. It just wasn't happening at either end of the pitch, and in the middle it was dreadful in of itself, and a large part of that was down to the setup of Arne Slot. Like, don't get me wrong, absolutely love and adore Slot, but that doesn't mean we can't criticise. And the criticism here is that for whatever reason, the starting 11 of a midfield 4 almost of 4-2-2-2 of like Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai and Wirtz just didn't work. It just did not work. Packing out that midfield just didn't work because Crystal Palace were easily bypassing our midfield. They were beating the press and they were launching counter-attacks. Yeremy Pino on one side had Connor Bradley absolutely on toast. On the other side was Ismail Assar. And I mentioned in the build-up that Ismail Assar normally saves his best performances for when he takes on Liverpool, whether he's in a Watford shirt or indeed a Crystal Palace shirt. And guess what he did again today? Saved his best performance for this very opponent, and he gets the opening goal of the game. Liverpool can't defend from set piece. Ismail Assar scores. I said in the build-up, watch out for Ismail Assar. He normally scores against us. Guess what the guy did? Scored against us. Very predictable. Very, very predictable. It just had to be. It just had to be. Second half, like I say, we create a couple of good opportunities to get back into the game. We're very fortunate to be still in the game. We are very fortunate to still be, considered to be in the game and potentially getting something out of the game that we so richly do not deserve. I could go on about how the opening goal should have been a goal kick rather than a corner, and it should have been. It really should have been, but those kind of things happen all the time, especially when, a referee doesn't see it in real time. VAR can't obviously interfere with that, so those kind of things happen, but even so, you should still be defending properly from those. But those mistakes were just in the game right the way through it. It was a common thread throughout the game for Liverpool. Mistakes defensively, just poor headers, poor touches, lackadaisical on the ball, lackluster, and Palace should have been ahead. Palace even had good opportunities themselves in the second half, but then Chiesa scores. Now there's a bit of debate. Did Mo Salah handball it? I don't think he did. I think if he did, the trajectory of the ball would have not completely, but you would have seen a clear directional change. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that Salah didn't handball it. Again, is that a little bit of Liverpool bias? Some people may argue yes, but for me, I don't think he did, just because I didn't really see the trajectory of the ball change at all, or the spin of the ball or anything like that. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt they didn't do it. And Chiesa scores. Chiesa comes off the bench and scores a goal. 2 moments this week. A big performance in the Carabao Cup and a big moment here. And I know that it didn't really lead to anything because obviously Liverpool still went and lost it in injury time. But this guy is making a case that he deserves to be starting more games. And here's another thing as well. Mo Salah drops another stinker. I'm sorry, but I know he's world class. I know he's phenomenal. But whilst he's in this vein of form, I think you have to consider starting Chiesa and maybe benching Salah for 1 or 2 games. As horrible as that may be, as horrible as that may sound, I'm just throwing it out there because it was another poor performance from Mo. But Chiesa once again does something. He does something. He gets Liverpool back into the game. And you're thinking that it couldn't happen again, could it? It couldn't happen again. Liverpool are not about to have another poor performance and yet come away with all 3 points. Well, it didn't happen because Palace went and scored the winning goal deep in injury time. I think the 96th, 97th minute. And it was through, of all people, Eddie Nketiah. That's my one... I wouldn't say one gripe, but that is the one kind of really irritating sticking point. Of all of the Crystal Palace players who I wouldn't have minded scoring against us, wouldn't have minded scoring a winning goal against us, Eddie Nketiah, really? Really? Eddie Nketiah? Seriously? That guy still is around? That guy is still here? Really? Absolutely embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. That was the overall arching performance. Embarrassing. Humiliating. Shocking. Like I say, I think Slot got it wrong. Trying to pack out the midfield against a team that can easily play direct through the press and also uses their wing backs as their outlets. We saw in the Community Shield how much they just basically put the ball down the wings and said, go and chase it. Wing backs, go and chase it. That's exactly what they did all game. They targeted mainly the right-hand side, Connor Bradley and Konate's side, because those two were absolutely abysmal throughout the entirety of the game. Seriously, Konate especially, like, I don't know what he's thinking, because if I'm Real Madrid, right, if he wants to really go to Real Madrid and he's putting in these kinds of performances, if I'm Real Madrid, I'm looking elsewhere. I am looking at Mark Gahey if I'm Real Madrid and I'm going, Konate, you stay where you are. I'm going after Gahey. And if that does happen, by the way, not only will I be annoyed that we've missed out on yet another transfer target to Real Madrid, but I'd also be more annoyed if we actually did go, Konate, will you sign this contract? I'd rather him then walk out on a free. If he's going to play like that, if he's basically got his head in Madrid and he's learning Spanish to join up with his good buddy Trent, legit, just stay out. It's a shame that Leone got injured. I would be calling for Leone to be starting alongside Van Dijk. I'm thinking now, I'm just praying that Gomez... I would want Gomez to come in now. I would want Gomez to. Because Konate's performances so far this season have been nothing short of atrocious, barring one or two exceptions. Today was just another atrocious performance. Another atrocious performance. There was a sea of them, but let's face it, he was head and shoulders above the rest. He was head and shoulders above the rest. There were a couple of meh performances. There were a couple of okay ones. I think Van Dijk was okay. You know, Chiesa comes off the bench and scores. Gakpo was okay when he came on off the bench in the second half. But Alisson's obviously head and shoulders above the rest in terms of exceptional. Konate is head and shoulders above the worst in absolute crap. Absolute crap. And you know, I'm hoping this will be the kick up the backside that they need. I'm hoping that this will be a bit like the Forest result last season, where it's just a wake up call, because this has been a long time coming. Let's be real about it. Maybe not in terms of a defeat, but in terms of dropping points, this has been a long time coming, because we've not had good performances. We've had spells, we've had halves, but we've not had good, solid performances for the majority of a 90-minute game so far this season. It has just eluded us completely. But I'm hoping that this will be the kick up the backside that we need. I'm really, really hoping that this is the kick up the backside that we need in order to do that. Slot, like I say, got it wrong. His setup was wrong. Putting Wirtz on the left-hand side, despite the fact that his best performance literally came when Isak was just ahead of him and he was playing through the centre. And in the second half, he actually had a much better performance through the centre, surprisingly. Was just wrong. I think there was a lot that Slot got wrong in this game. but the players had to take some responsibility too. They were just as bad. They were just as atrocious as Arne Slot. I think he's overthought it. I think he's, what's the term? Is it galaxy brained it? I think that's the term that people use when managers overthink things, like Pep Guardiola, for example. But yeah, absolutely no excuses. Absolutely atrocious. Absolutely abysmal. We move on. We've got Chelsea in the Premier League next week, but in between now and then, we've obviously got a Champions League game to bounce back in. Yeah, I mean, all you can do is bounce back, and hopefully bounce back in style, because the longer this goes on, the performances continue to be awkward. Even though I've still got hope that obviously things will start connecting and things will start clicking into place. Games like this don't fill me with much hope. And I know that obviously Crystal Palace are very good. I know that they're worth their unbeaten run that they're on right now. But even so, we still should be putting in better performances than that. We really, really should. And we got what we deserved. Absolutely nothing for our trip to the capital. And Palace, fair play, very well deserved. Very good side they are. And fair play to Oliver Glasner and the rest of the Crystal Palace players. They were absolutely incredible. So fair play to them. These are the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling, though. Let me know in the comments section what you thought about the game, the performance, the result, and everything else in between. I'm sure what you have to say will make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another not-so-instant match reaction. Just do better, Liverpool. Just do better. And I'll see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.